Gentlemen, 2024. Here we are.
Yes.
Hey.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome
2024.
back. So a lot of people are probably going to ask, where have we been? Right?
That's right.
It's been a little hiatus. We've all kind of been really busy. A lot of things
Sick.
going on. I personally have had some health issues, some family deaths that have, kind of made me prioritize some things. And things are good now. Got my boys back. We're ready to share some stories with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
What have you been up to, Josh, this last year?
Yeah, nothing too crazy. The boat got damaged, so we haven't been doing anything with the boat. And then
You were saying
I
that
hadn't
the
really
boat's kind of.
traveled any last year. I didn't really travel any last. Well, no, I didn't really
Why do you think
go
that is?
out of the country last year. I had to buy a truck.
Oh, yeah.
And other
Yeah,
things.
that
Bought
makes
it, you
But
bought a
yeah.
truck out of the country?
Yeah, and put it on a boat and came back. There we go. That's one way to get a Tacoma right there.
That's
Oh.
true.
But yeah. So anyway, this year I'm going to Colombia in March for a wedding. I'm best man in a wedding, so that's going to be awkward.
No. Why is that going to be awkward?
It's you know me,
Because
Todd.
I made love to her. I made love to the bride.
Well, I have to tell him in my speech that I slept with her. It was before you knew each other.
Before you guys knew each other.
Before,
Way
yeah.
before. Come on, guy.
Yeah, some down there in Colombia.
No, why is it going to be awkward? I really want to know this.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what's going on, and it's gonna be a really cool, like, pretty Catholic wedding in a church, and it's right there in like the old section of Cartagena, and so they haven't really told me much about what's going on. It's kind of small. It's like 70 people, and we're just kind of see. So we get down there and see what's going on. I mean, it'd be fun. Just I've had some interesting weddings in the past. That you just never know what's going to happen, especially when there's parents involved and international travel and people coming in from different places, and it's always interesting.
Timmy, what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, my daughter just completed her first musical ever.
Tell everybody what that was.
Yes, it was Finding Nemo Jr., and she's on the spectrum. She did it with a thing called the Penguin Project, which is an organization that shows up to local schools and says, hey, bring in all your kids who want to serve and bring in all your special needs. Let's put a little musical on where the kids help the special needs kids act and do the play. And it allows for these kids to get a role and do something fun and be out there in front of the sold out shows, a lot of them. So it was really cool. And then I got in a musical as well. So I'm busy learning that thing. And then, work slaving away other than that.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome thing. So Tim's daughter is named Eden, and sweetest girl. And she played Dory in Finding Nemo in this Penguin Project program. Now, I had never heard of the Penguin Project. And anybody out there, if you've never heard of it, please Google it. They're
amazing.
It was so amazing. Now, what it is like Tim had said that his daughter is on the spectrum, and a lot of the kids that are in there are on the spectrum. So they're the starring actors in this program.
They're called the artists.
They are the artists. Yes.
They're the artists.
They are the artists in this program. And they're followed by mentors. Now, these mentors are walking beside them, acting with them in the background, like right behind them, and guiding them.
Same outfit as them, same costume.
Same outfit, same everything. Same,
like an understudy.
Yeah, like
just like an understudy. And it was, Tim, no joke.
Everybody's crying.
One of the greatest things I think I've seen in a very, very long time.
Me too, Todd. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It brought a lot of us to tears of joy. It was so special to watch. So these are all over the U.S. So if you guys get a chance, look it up, try to find one, and go support it.
It's a great time.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So on top of that, Tim, you're in a show coming up. Talk about that.
Show, Big Fish, the musical, here in downtown Cumming, Georgia, a place called the Focal Center, thanks to the Focal Center at Bellissimo Theater as well. Man, they are great people, and they're a non-for-profit, and they come in and we all put musicals together, and I don't get paid. I just do it because I love it. My first one ever. So the kind of cool confirmation of this whole thing too, that's kind of fun, is that my stage wife, in quotes, um, she she has a daughter on the spectrum who was Nemo, and I have a daughter who was Dory. So we're both in Big Fish together too, and that was kind of like, oh wow, how fun is that? You know, it was kind of a neat little extra cherry on the top, if you will, of just this when you get to see what do they call it, synchronicity, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tim, can you turn up just a little bit?
Yeah, I can.
So Tim, I don't know if you said you are actually Edward in it. You're older Edward in
Is that better?
Big Fish.
Yeah, so not a lot of musicals do it this way. I kind of like it. It's cool. I think it's smart. What they did is they split us up from young Edward and present day Edward. It's like the movie. You have Albert Finney, who's dying in a bed, and then Ewan McGregor, who's the young version of him. And so we wanted to go that way. It gave more roles to to people who wanted to be involved, and I think, this is my first musical. The guy who is honestly, the guy who is Edward could do the whole show. But I was kind of like the wild card. I really feel. I mean, I was just like this guy who just showed up out of nowhere, And so I don't know. I think they were going to break it down that way anyway, but I'm just glad they did. I'm just glad that it happened that way. I'm not alluding in any way that they, thought, oh, hey, there's this guy, but again, let's make this role for that, But I'm just saying, it was kind of a fun thing that I cut this all out, by the way. Don't use any of this. Sorry. My point is just, it was a good time. I'm so excited. My first musical, I get to be the death and kind of comical stuff, but the one that really tear jerks the moment. And that's the fun part. Then the other guy, the young me, gets to kind of play the playful, lighthearted, dovey stuff. And I'm like, this is going to be awesome.
Oh man, I can't wait. Big Fish was one of my just most favorite movies. My wife and I, we loved that movie. So much fun. So
good movie. It is.
Oh yeah,
great watch
movie.
It before you come to the show and get yourself acclimated. Billy Crudup. My gosh, she's awesome.
Oh, that's killer, man. Super proud of you. That's awesome.
We're
I can't
excited
wait to see it.
Man, I want to make all those shows good. Now come, bring your friends. They are taking a risk on this one financially. Bellissimo, they've said it. I don't know if I should say it, but so again, I don't know if we can use this, but I would say, man, I want to sell out every show if I could. I'm going to tell everybody that I know. And it would be fun to have a lot of people come out because, we got to support this art community that's budding in here in this little town, especially what they do with the special needs kids. But then it's so fun to just be on a stage and, just doing it for the art, doing it for fun.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, focal arts and that whole community and Bellissimo. Thank you guys if you're listening.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Tim. So this episode will drop before your play, before your performance. So do you want to give everybody some information on when and where?
Sure. If you're in the Atlanta area, you go up to the Focal Center, which you could Google that. And I'm sure if you say Focal Center upcoming, you're going to be given the right direction. So let's just keep it simple. I wish I could give you the audio QR code. That hasn't been invented yet. Maybe it just has been invented tonight. We got to think about that. Put your phone up to the thing and we'll play the QR code audio.
How cool would that be?
And we'd be the first ones to have thought that up right here Created by Human.
That's right.
So with that being said, if you want to come, it is going to be, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at a pitch here. Can you imagine if I was on an elevator? You'd be gone already. You'd already have left the door, waving goodbye. Actually, let me get my Google Docs here.
Tim's Googling it because he's forgotten. He's an actor. He's a thespian.
I'm an actor.
Guys.
I'm an artist.
He's not. This
is what my
the
manager
promo
does.
guy.
Right. No, I got to promote it. Okay, so here we go. Are you ready, everybody? Get your pen and paper
Get your
down.
pens ready.
You can also find this at thefocalcenter.com or just Google Big Fish in the coming area, and I guarantee you'll be able to get tickets right away. I've just got to get the website and all that for you. Maybe that's the better thing to do. But sorry, I didn't plan on doing this. Let's see. Here we go. Opening night. It is February 22nd. 5:30 call time, 7:30 go time. That's my. Don't go to the 5:30. And then that goes for the 23rd, February 24th, 5th, and then they stop. And then we're back on the 29th, the 1st, the 2nd, 3rd.
Wow.
Nice.
8 shows.
Eight
Wow.
shows.
Wow.
So
I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun. I mean, I'm doing choreography, first time ever. I'm terrible at it, but I'm learning. I'm trying.
Dude, guys, if you remember from the first season, Tim did a lot of improv stuff. He did a lot of music. So this is right up his alley, and we're super excited to see it. Now, Tim, after the show, are you doing autographs? Are you doing autographs afterwards?
Well,
are you doing meet
Todd,
and greets before?
Yeah, I'm like the last guy you want to know. So we'll be doing autographs, sure, all the way in the back of the focal center there. They'll have a red carpet and lights and ring lights and stuff. I think they did it for the Penguin Project. Maybe they won't do it for us. I don't know. My point is, if you do go get autographs, get the guy John playing. His name is John. I'm not going to give you his last name, but his name is John. He's playing young me, and dude, he has. I keep saying the buttery voice. It's very buttery, but I'm going to start using different things for him, and I'm going to let him know I'm doing this. I'm going to go, hey, whenever I say something like, hey, way to go today, buddy, your voice was like a good back rub. He'll be like,
ooh, dang.
And then the next day I'll be like, hey, way to go, man. Your voice today was like a delicious pasta.
I like this. I like this. Hey, should we just start John, doing that with a lot of people?
I think so. Hey, John, today, man, you were like a very well cooked apple pie. And I'm just going to keep going random with it, you know?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would say, hey, John, have you ever had a blueberry Pop-Tart not toasted versus toasted? You're somewhere in between.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, no, you're
spitballing. We're spitballing.
You're the perfect Pop-Tart cook from the toaster, man, today. So I got to get away from buttery. I've been using it too much, but he's a very good singer, very good actor. Just graduated from Florida State University. My wife is stage wife. She's great. She's a great singer, great actress.
I was going to say like Michelle. Everyone knows Michelle, but this is your stage wife.
This is my stage wife.
Okay.
So
super awesome. Well,
but enough about me, Todd. Let's get to the near-death stuff.
Oh yes. So I wanted to give you, I want to give you guys a little heads up of where we're going this season. So all the same old stuff, man. We're going to talk about aliens and conspiracy theories and I don't know, whatever else we can think of that's crazy, you know, in this insane world and universe that we live in. But one of the things we're going to focus on pretty heavily is near death, is afterlife, is this world beyond worlds that we're all trying to fully understand. And the reason being, for me specifically, is that I just, you know, I not too long ago, almost, it's, you know, getting close to going on a year now, I guess, but you know, I lost my mom, and that posed a lot of questions in my heart and in my mind. And Tim has lost his father when Tim was very, very little, and lost his mother, you know, not too long ago. So these kind of things, and Josh, I'm sure 100% you've lost people, and so this really touches all of us. You know, we all lose people. It's just something that's going to happen. We're not getting out of this alive, as my father would say. But one thing about this, and the reason we're going to kind of expand on this season, is because in the loss of my mother back in April of 23, I found out some other news. And when we get towards the end of this season, and maybe it'll be the final episode, I want to share that news with you. It was kind of big deal news. The guys know about it. and it's a wild story. So I want to kind of listen to other people's stories and just see, and we'll probably go down some of those paths that we won't really indicate why we're going down some of those paths, but they're all going to tie to this in the end of the season. So we look forward to you sticking around, listen to us ramble, and stick with us to the end, because there's something I really want to share with you guys. That being said, let's kick into this intro.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hello. 2024. Mm-hmm. Todd is here. Josh is here. Baby Tim is here.
Thanks.
We are ready to kick this off. We are ready to do this.
Let's talk about death.
Let's
talk about death.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about death.
Death.
I found on YouTube, there's this channel. The channel is called Coming Home Channel, at Coming Home Channel. And it is two twin brothers, Elliot and Jesse. Again, the channel is called Coming Home. And they really do a fantastic job of telling the story of NDEs, near-death experiences. So today, I wanted to play one of those stories, and it's done really well. I've played this for Tim before. I think Tim really likes it. It's one of my most favorites. And it's about a gentleman named Andy Petro. Now, Andy drowned and had an NDE, but the way that he describes this is just fascinating. So first off, I want to play Elliot and Jesse kind of just talking about their channel. Now, you guys have got to check out this channel. They have a podcast now too. These two guys, again, their videos are phenomenal. Their storytelling is phenomenal. You're going to really love it. So let me play a little thing real quick, just a few minutes of Jesse and Elliot describing or kind of talking about what Coming Home is and why they started it.
I'm Elliot. I'm Jesse. Welcome to our channel. I feel like we're doing this channel because we love and we're obsessed with near-death experiences. That is, people that clinically die and then are resuscitated or come back to life, having had an experience from the other side. They live to tell the tale, and they tell these amazing stories. And our understanding is that that's simply somebody who have had an altered state of consciousness that involves clinical death, even if it's very temporary. Extreme conditions, illness, car accidents, mountaineering experiences, where somebody dies and then has an experience outside of the body. Somehow consciousness and awareness can continue. There's so many fascinating lessons and implications of near-death experiences. We thought, maybe this is a way we can contribute to the community online, really make beautiful short films highlighting people's stories, and also having guests on and really pick their brains about some of this stuff. And we think death is one of the most taboo topics in this culture. Yeah. People are scared of dying. People don't know how to relate to it. So we think this is a really interesting time to be talking to people, listening to these stories, sharing these stories. And we think it might help a lot of people in this culture find some kind of peace and acceptance around death and dying, perhaps even some hopefulness. One of the reasons we're calling the channel Coming Home is because we noticed in reading a lot of different accounts and listening to a lot of different people's stories of near-death experiences, the language and the words they used when they try to describe what they experienced on the other side, often they would say, I don't know how to describe it. No words can encompass it. There's no language.
It's ineffable.
Yeah. And they often would say, felt like I was home. I was truly home. And this world is more of a dream. we want to articulate that as well. And we also think of it as like a practice, a spiritual practice. How can we come home to our true selves in any given moment? And what's our purpose here? And how can we help alleviate suffering? Nobody knows, but it's hundreds of thousands, millions of people around the world have had near-death experiences. And one thing that we talk about that we're really interested in is finding people from diverse ranges of culture, different languages, different religious backgrounds, and what their near-death experiences is like. We're really excited to see where this channel goes and who we meet and the community that we build. And we'll be curious what the audience resonates with. We invite you to come join us on this journey of exploring consciousness and the soul, life after death.
Subscribe to join the journey.
So it's fascinating. We'll give you a near-death.
I mean, that's really good. Yeah.
No, it's dude. They do an incredible job. They really do. And we're going to get into one of these stories here shortly. And so I love the name of this channel too, Coming Home. Now, we've talked about it, guys. Like, we've talked about it multiple times.
Yeah.
That this realm that we live in, this existence that we live in, isn't really us. I mean, we've even talked about the fact that studies have now shown that consciousness is not in the brain. It lives in the ether, and that our brains are these radios, these transmitters to receive or whatever. Like, so this
Bob Lazar has been quoted saying the alien, if you will, in the alien was, as we know it, that maybe governments have been working with, or if they're not there, whatever they are, just the aliens that Bob Lazar has seemed to have heard talk to or read in reports that he found for sure, said that we were containers. That's what we are. We're known as those guys that contain. We're just big containers to the alien races. That I find that interesting. Like, really?
Yeah,
containers.
Absolutely. I find that extremely interesting. And that's what's so fascinating about it is containers, right? That we are just these vessels. And more of what was talked about in religious texts over so many different religions, so many different cultures, science is really starting to piece together some truth to it, right? Where it's like, this was said in text thousands of years ago, but science is now starting to say, well, what they said 2,000 years ago holds weight. Now we have some proof to back it up. Now, I'm not talking about crazy stories and, people being swallowed by whales and all of a sudden they're fine. It's not what I'm talking about, but I am talking about some of these very mystical things that we have believed for a long time, or, that we weren't certain about. But science is now starting to say, like, no, there's some factual evidence to almost prove what was said thousands of years ago is real.
Amen to that.
Amen, girl.
Amen, girl.
I'm so sorry. They were like, Tim, bring my, Gus to your office because he really misses you. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't think, oh yeah, I'm recording a podcast. My bad. He's gone.
Gus is Tim's barking iguana, just so y'all don't know.
Dude, I'm so sorry, everyone. Man, this is so unprofessional. I'm out of sync with the podcast rhythm,
Listen, you're super professional at your new acting gig, but when you come here, I want you to let loose. I want you to drink whiskeys. I want you to have your dogs bark. I want your wife to stumble in and say, Tim, supper's ready.
Yeah. Okay, deal. Well, let's keep going. Sorry, where were we?
Death.
Everyone's mind. And,
unfortunately,
the government's basically come out now and said, hey, there's aliens. Cool. And we're all like, whatever, dude. Like, we kind of knew it, but that's fine. But death kind of eludes us. Like, what really is it, and where do we end up, and what is that like? Will we see those people that we love again, and what does that mean? Is it like what we've been told in our upbringing, in our religious texts, our religious beliefs, or the way our parents have explained things to us, or is it something entirely different? And that's why I love some of these stories that Coming Home have captured on these NDEs, is that it is so much more. In everyone's story there are similarities, and we've talked about this before, guys, that there are similarities to everyone's story, but it's almost like each death is catered to that person, to their belief system. Some who believe in Jesus Christ see Jesus, some see Muhammad, some don't see anything, some that really fall in love with spirituality and in nature see this beautiful landscape, almost like what dreams may come. So there's so many different directions that it goes in, that hopefully as we kind of explore this throughout the season, that we are able to start to paint our own pictures. We're able to start picking out similarities. And what's fascinating about it too, guys, is that when we start talking about other things like aliens and all alternate universes and parallel universes and all these weird things that happen, time travel, when we start discussing all these things, I firmly believe that they all start to tie together. They all tie together. So that's the one thing I want to do throughout this season, is to really, all of us kind of pay attention to some of these stories and some of these things that we hear, to go, man, I think it's telling us a universal story. Then maybe we can start to piece some things together. Or maybe it's just the whiskey talking.
No, right? What do you think up there, Josh?
I've never had an after-death experience. It fascinates me. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how other people from other cultures see it. That's fascinating to me. Like how other people, because I guess there's a sense of interpretation. If something happens to you, you probably interpret it according to your culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a story that I want to play for us. I'm going to pull it up on YouTube. And again, this is a story told by Coming Home, Elliot and Jesse, the brothers, Coming Home channel on YouTube. This story is about Andy Petro. And once again, I've shared this story with Tim before, kind of really touched both of us. So I thought it would be a good one to play as we start this new season. This is a drowning NDE, but the way that Andy talks about it and the way that he explains his experience, it's really intriguing. And I'm going to play it, and the guys are going to jump in. I'll pause it. We're going to just talk about things, and hopefully you guys can gather something from this as we did. So here we go. Let me pop open this video. Dun, 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 dun.
Pop up video.
How do videos work, guys?
Videos?
Yeah, how does that work?
Videos are a series of images and sound edited and composited together.
Edited down?
Rendered down to form a video.
So the title of this video about Andy Petro is Man Dies, Discovers Ultimate Truth About Our Soul's Purpose on Earth, Consciousness, and Oneness. Now, again, this guy, I mean, you can see he's, oh my gosh, he's probably in his 80s, I would imagine. But he gives this very vivid story of when he was young, that was so impressionable to him as a child that he can now recall it 60, 70 years later. Fascinating. But anyways, here we go with our story.
Hi, I'm Andy Petro. I want to tell you about an experience that I had many years ago. It was 1955. It was the 2 days before graduation from high school, and our class decided to take a picnic out in a nearby lake. So we got all packed up and ready to go, and we got there, and it was a beautiful summer day. It was cold. The water was cold because this was in Michigan, and the water doesn't warm up very much there. And so we had lunch and playing some games and things. And then all of a sudden, I could see some of my friends on a floating platform out about 50, 100 yards away. And they were waving at me to swim out and meet them. I really didn't want to get in the water because the water was too cold. So I did a running dive into the water, and it really was cold. And now I'm swimming out to the platform. And I get about halfway there, and I start getting cramps in the lower part of my abdomen. And now I can't kick. And now I'm starting to splash around, and I'm choking on some water. Water's going down, and now I'm underwater.
So that's fascinating. I mean, think about it. The fear, right? The fear of, I can't swim anymore. There's nothing I can do.
Horrible.
Oh my gosh, that'd be terrifying. My wife, that had to happen to Michelle one time. She was swimming from pier, boat dock, and was out there swimming, and it didn't seem far, man, but it was a good distance. You know, it was maybe a football field, maybe a football field and a half. But when she got about halfway, dude, she cramped up. It was far enough away to where we couldn't really see her struggling for help. Couldn't hear her well either. And by chance, like, her mom just kind of picked up on something's not right. And we were able to go out there and get her. But man, she cramped up, and she was like, dude, I thought that was it. You know, so that's scary stuff. I mean, I get where he's coming from.
The fear that this guy's feeling is it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get back to his story here.
And now I'm starting to panic because I don't know what to do. I'm stuttering even as I'm thinking about it. And then all of a sudden I pop up again above the water, and my head is above the water, and I'm looking around. What can I see? And I can see the guys on the platform. I can't yell because there's water in my throat and mouth and everything. And so I'm waving, and they're waving back at me. So they must think we're playing some kind of game.
If people are going to be able to see this video, I love the twins and their imagery.
They do.
It's a really good way to tell the story. They're doing a good job.
100%. So yeah, Tim, that's what I was saying. Is like,
I was like, man, geez, these guys
you're a video
bad.
Guy. It's one of the things that you do.
They had to create that. They did.
Yeah, they created these things. Now, I know like there are stock footages that you can get for a lot of things. Yeah. But then when you're trying to tell like this detailed of a story, I would imagine that they would have had to gone out and captured some of this imagery. Yeah?
It's good. It's genius. Well, yeah, heck yeah. But then, I mean, yeah, a lot of it's stock footage. I just love this guy falling into the depths. I mean, we're all there now. We're like, oh, dude. Yeah. And Michigan lakes too are scary. They have a lot of seaweed in them. I remember there's this one lake. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, the seaweed's everywhere. Anyway, go ahead.
I hate seaweed.
Yeah. So,
yuck.
So again, I mean, this guy right now is conceding to the fact that that's it.
I hit the bottom.
That's it, guys.
In the bottom, I'm done. I mean, that would be scary. But how deep is it? 12, 18.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, I think. I mean, think about it. If it was 10 feet, and you were done and you couldn't do anything, that seems like so far. I mean, have you been at the bottom of a, I don't know, 8-foot pool, 10-foot pool? You're at the bottom, and then you try to push up to get that last thing of air, and it's so difficult, and it's only 10 feet. Yeah. So
kudos to these guys for good imagery.
They're doing a great job with this storytelling, man. And I love Andy's story here. So let's continue on. Here he is. Hit bottom in a sitting position, almost conceding again. That's it.
And then I go down again, and I never come up. And now it's cold. It is so cold. I'm shivering. Just violently cold. And as I go down deeper and deeper, it starts to get darker. and now all of a sudden I can feel weeds at my feet. There are weeds at the bottom of the lake, and I'm sliding into the weeds, and then all of a sudden I hit bottom, and I hit bottom in a sitting position, and now, oh man, I start to feel better, because I think I can push myself out of the sitting position and get to the top of the lake again. And when I push my arms down again, now it's worse than being sitting there, because now I'm stuck. And at this moment, everything is screaming in my body. I'm dying. I finally admit that I'm dying. And then all of a sudden there's a voice in my head, and it's a voice that I remember, but I don't know who it is.
So what is that? What is that? There's a voice.
A guardian angel?
I mean,
a guardian angel, a guardian spirit to guide you home.
Or Dorothy.
Maybe Dory.
I don't know, but it could be.
Dory.
I do wonder what that is, because a lot of these guys, come on, are we going to be serious?
Yeah. Sorry, Todd. Sorry.
It is Dory, though, Josh. That was really stupid, because that is like your age. Like you watched that growing up. Anyways,
sorry,
no, you guys are good. So it does interest me that where that voice comes from, because it makes you think, is this something that we all just do within our own minds, that when we understand that the end is inevitable, that we are done, do we just kind of give up? Do we find some peace within ourselves that there's nothing else we can do, that we start having that conversation with ourselves? I don't know. The other thing is it coming from somewhere? Again, we talked about consciousness exists outside of the mind, that the mind is just this receiver to transmit what's coming in. So in those moments of near death, of that's it, does the mind start picking up other waves of, hey man, just calm down. I know this is scary, but just calm down.
I hope so.
All right, let's continue.
I hope so. I mean, may I say something? There's also stories of people. This is weird. I heard a story once of a lady who was dying, and then shown in her near-death experience another man who was a criminal, and that criminal was being offered by the voice. She would have said Jesus, but by the voice, hey man, chill out, right? And I think it also said, I'm Jesus. I'm here to help you go. The guy had died, and he was a criminal. And basically, it said, I'm Jesus. Do you want to go to heaven with me today? I can pay for your sins even now. And the guy said to him, as this lady's floating away from her near-death experience, the guy says, F you, Jesus. I want nothing to do with you, right?
Yeah.
So basically, he's talking to this source and goes, no, I don't want nothing to do with you in that near death. And basically it just opens up and swallows a darkness. This is from another thing. But anyhow, I digress. I just think it's interesting when you're saying the voice, maybe Christ even is that voice, or the, God who loves you, this being of this source comes down and he's trying to help you, comfort you, and really help get you through to the next round. And you can say no to it and totally, apparently. I don't know. It's kind of interesting thought. I just wanted to throw that in there because it's supposedly a video going around of that lady talking.
No, absolutely. It's, again, as I stated before, I mean, it seems to be during these NDEs that it really caters towards your belief system and whatever that may be. So to say that it's not Jesus, I don't think you can say that. But to also say that it is, I don't think you can say that, right?
It's so I'm not there.
It's so tough, man, because as we continue on in Andy's story, who was it to him? So let's find out.
Keep going. It's some great stuff he says.
And the voice says, Andy, you need to stop and rest for a while. And then I'm talking to myself in my head and I'm saying, are you crazy? I got to get up. I need at least one breath of air. That's all I ask, is one breath of air. And the voice says to me, Andy, you really need to rest. So just relax and let go. And I said, I can't do that. And the voice says again, you need to let go. And so I say to the voice, okay, do you promise that if I let go, I'll be able to get to the top? And the voice says to me, if you let go, everything will be fine. I said, okay, you promise? And the voice says, yes, I promise. So then I said, okay, I'll let go. And the moment that the word go formed in my mind, I popped out of my body. And in what I call a moment of no time, I'm at one point I'm in my body, and at the next point I'm in this tunnel. And I don't remember going to the tunnel. It was just, now I'm in my body, now I'm in the tunnel.
This again, like, Tim, and I don't know for you, like when you lose a parent, there's something about it. And for me, it kind of crushed me for a good period of time. And I'm sure it did you. But that thought of what happened when my mom died, what did she, was she scared? Probably. But when she got that moment of death, you know, I'm sure that there was a little fear setting in. I mean, just like we do with anything, like there's a little, oh my gosh, what's happening? But hearing what he just said gives me some comfort. And I hope it does for some of you as well. That when he said, okay, he was gone. He was gone. He was completely detached
the moment
from
he
his
said
body.
Go.
Yeah.
And there's like this, I've heard this from other people, but this moment of the same exact thing is throughout. It's like a checkpoint in each near-death experience of the tunnel of light and time, and this kind of coffin, the vehicle that you're in as you're traveling through. Very strange, you know, just this very strange. You've never seen it. You're out of your body. At this point, you're being catered to this dimension that you've never really, well, you might recognize. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, that's just where like I go, man, my hope begins to build for family and friends, because I'm like, okay, so there is something happening. You know?
Sure. And you know, hearing what Andy said, I mean, again, that gives me some kind of peace that when my mom took her last breath, that was immediate detachment. And
it was like immediate peace. And that's not the only one. They're all saying that.
No, they're very, and how we spoke that there are a lot of similarities. Right. There are a lot of similarities with these NDEs. These are some of the similarities, the detachment from the real world, the peace, the love feeling, the I'm home type feeling. These are the similarities. Their journeys are what different in a sense of what they kind of see, who greets them, who's talking to them.
It does get weird. It can be.
It does get
weird. There are mountains and ranges and things too that people see. But I mean, ultimately, there are the tunnel of lights, the living out the review. There's always a review. Mm-hmm. He'll go into it. I mean, it's. I love this guy's story. It's really encouraging.
Yeah, Andy has a great story. So let's continue on. So Andy basically just told us that they said, "Let go," and he said, "Okay."
The source said, "Let
now
go."
He finds himself in this tunnel. Let's see where he goes from here.
And in the tunnel, I'm warm. I'm happy. I can breathe again. I'm just filled with the joy and unconditional love. It was so stark. It was such a change from complete terror to complete ultimate ecstasy in a minute of no time. And I'm just so completely happy. I look down and I can see a body, and I'm saying, it's funny I can see that because it was dark down there. And I look and, yep, that's my body. I don't care. I look, and I didn't care. At the moment that I saw my body at the bottom of the lake, I didn't care about my life. I didn't care about being on Earth because I knew I was home.
I knew I was home.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, this is again the same kind of thing. You'll hear people who are in their surgic room, they look down and they go, oh, there's that body I don't care about, and I'm weightless. I'm in peace. I'm happy. I'm joyful. Wait, this is like, oh, this place. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
I've heard that so many times.
Just floating. He's looking down. What's one thing that he said as well? I could breathe again.
Yeah.
And you just think about that, and that's hard to fathom. Right. What does that mean? You know?
It's funny. I don't know. You bring that up. There's other people I've heard where it's not like you can speak, but yet your thoughts are speaking and shouting, I'm okay, or don't worry about me, Mom, I'm good. But only you can really, and this talking between the voice and you and others and you, it's more thought, it's immediate, it's not physical anymore. You have to kind of, there's some interesting stuff about that. Mm-hmm. It's almost like we're little orbs or spheres of just
but spheres
energy,
of consciousness
orbs
of consciousness. And that's the other thing too, is like when these folks pass over, they are still them from where they just came. But as they get further along in their journey, and hopefully we hear this again with Andy as he tells his story, they start to recall other things, right? They start to recall who they were before.
You can throw this out, Todd, but definitely there's a professor. I've heard a professor talk about this where, I'm sorry, a channeler. I think I told you about him. He channels this alien, and the alien looks at us as like we're these beings that we're just like them in a way, where we wanted to, and our souls decided to come here and learn from this earth. And that when you're done, you're like, you've got a graduate's degree or a PhD in living somewhere, because the earth is one of the hardest landscapes for a soul to live in. To really truly experience life as we know it. I thought that was very interesting. I heard that from a Danica Patrick thing. Anyway, it's a completely different story, but it's kind of interesting when you hear an alien talking through a human, which is hardly viable at that point, but still him to say, yeah, the earth is like where people go to get a PhD in living. That's kind of like an interesting topic. So,
well, that's what you just said too, goes back to what I said at the very beginning of this podcast, that things start to mesh as we really pay attention, right? That a story of an NDE and then heaven, a biblical story. And then over here you have an alien talking about, this. They all start to mesh. And I think we're doing an awful job of looking at it all and going like, it's all so different. It's all so complicated. I think we can look at all of it and start to really paint a picture of what to expect or what it is.
Yeah. Hopefully give a little hope.
Give a little
for
hope.
Me and for you and for Josh there.
For baby Josh.
Right there on my screen.
All right, Andy, where are you going now, bro? He says, because I knew I was home.
And then I turned in the other direction. And now I'm looking at a spot of light. And the light is not very big, but it is so bright it should be burning my retinas. And I'm saying, wow, now that's a bright light, but it doesn't hurt. And now I feel myself being drawn like a magnet, like a giant magnet. The magnet's pulling me through the tunnel. And I'm starting to get closer to the light. And then all of a sudden, in a moment of no time, I'm no longer in the tunnel. Now I'm in the middle of a giant sphere about the size of a soccer coliseum, huge. And I'm hovering in the middle of this ball, in the inside of the ball. And around it, all 360 degrees, everywhere I look, are little motion picture screens.
Okay. right?
Here we are. We've ticked another box, Todd.
We've ticked another box.
Life review.
Well, even prior to life review, he's in this sphere. All of a sudden, he's in this sphere. Okay. Skinwalker Ranch. One of the things, and I'm not trying to spoil anything, so if you haven't seen it yet or seen the latest season, pause it and go see it. And this is basically what it is. What it all boils down to is they found that these spheres that they keep seeing, these orbs that they keep seeing pop up, seem to be not craft, but entities, possible portals. So what if that's what all this is? What if Andy, as he is turning into this sphere, that sphere is actually somewhat visible as it transitions for a moment into this other universe, into this other reality? I don't know. But again, start tying things together, right? We have aliens and spheres and orbs, and Andy talking about how he is in this orb.
And not to mention, we have sometimes when things go bad, perhaps, the soul is left behind to rot, in thus creating a evil spirit, if you will, or like a the spirit that lives around and haunts an old hotel, or it's got one job left to do, but nobody to help them. There may be really some story to the paranormal here on Earth as well.
I completely agree.
All that connects.
Like I said, man, I think it all connects. So I think Andy, like you said, he's saying everywhere I look are little motion picture screens. Now, I think you're right. I think he's about to dive into
where
this.
Things get really interesting.
Yep, that's where it gets really interesting.
Of all of my lives and of all of the things that I'm doing, and the light is next to me. I don't see it, but I feel it and I know it's there. And the light and I start to communicate about all of these events in all of my lives. And I could see them all, and nothing was confusing. I understood everything. I could understand all the lifetimes. I could understand all the things it is. And when I would focus on any one particular screen, I would relive it. Only now, as I'm reliving it knowing the feelings and the effect that I have on the people that I'm communicating with in that scene.
Whoa.
Big whoa.
This is a big whoa. Now, this is one of the things that when I shared this with Tim, and Tim had watched as well, I had never heard before in a lot of these life reviews. I think it's a thing. I think this is real, what he's talking about, because it makes perfect sense. Now, afterwards, as I started reviewing more of these NDEs, this came up again in other stories. But first time hearing this from Andy blew my mind. You always think like, oh, wow, should I treat people that bad, or should I treat them well, or how do I interact with people? And what does that even mean? What does that matter?
How do you want your life review?
But dude, when you start, Tim, for real, when you start thinking about it that way, that dude, you're not only going to go to your life review and sit there and watch this and feel the way that you felt in that moment. Dude, leave me alone.
Everybody.
You're going to feel the way that it affected him. You're going to feel the way that it affected his wife when he got home because he had a bad day, because you made him have a bad day. You're going to feel every bit of that. And you know what's incredible?
Yikes.
Is
Judgment.
I honestly
Right
think,
there.
yeah, I honestly think we can feel that here on Earth now. I mean, that's why we have emotions. I mean, think about it. There's nothing that physically attaches us to each other. Josh, there's not an actual cord that attaches you to me, and Tim, there's not an actual cord that attaches us. But I can say words, and it can affect you, and it could change you in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
dude. So there's something super powerful about that. And we know when we feel it. We know when we say something and we go, shit, man.
Oh yeah.
Whoops.
The tongue, I love. Isn't there this is going to be a real ambiguous shout out to a band, but Catherine Wheel.
Oh, I love Catherine
back in
Wheel.
the '90s, their little album, they have he talks about his little muscle. You remember this song? Mm-hmm. Little muscle, little muscle.
Talking about his penis.
He's talking
right?
about his tongue.
Oh.
No, it's not his penis.
Jeez.
I know. I thought it was at first, but the closer you listen to it, it's he's talking about his tongue, and so does the Bible and other books, I'm sure. But how it is one of the most sinful parts of the body, for sure. It can just wreak havoc, you know, and come out and just break people.
Oh gosh,
or encourage people. But it's a weapon if you know how to use it. Oh man, right?
It's the worst weapon, man. I mean, think about this. Weapon. I could walk up to somebody, and I could punch somebody in the face, and it's going to physically hurt, and they're going to get angry and upset, but they're going to get over that, right? They're going to get over that.
Sure.
They're going to heal, and they're going to get over that.
Sure.
But things that come out of my mouth, there's things, I mean, I'm sure all you guys are the same. There are things that have been said to me that I've said to people that
it's bad.
That have affected them or affected me for the rest of my life. You know? So our words, you know, I think, Tim, and you can speak on this too, that there, you know, in the Bible, it has said things such as that, like, you know, the manifestation. What the second you speak it, it's in existence.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I mean, without a doubt, it's talked about in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. The tongue is you know, just a dangerous weapon. Quite a beast to wrestle with. It's a part of our self-control, you know.
Oh,
How controlled can you be with that tongue of yours in your mouth? And boy, that's really where the rubber hits the road on how you can feel about something, how you can, and to relive it. The fact that we're going to relive it, guys. Think about what you say to your kids, your mom, your dad, your parents, your loved one, your wife, your spouse, other coworkers. You got to relive all that.
You got.
Sounds like
you got to, and
luckily, I like where he goes with the source. We got to play that part, and we need to talk about that too.
Well, let's dive back in. Let's dive back in and see where Andy goes with this. He's now kind of in that moment of the life review, and he's not only feeling.
It's a good moment. He's gonna talk about something. It's really cool.
Not only feeling what he's feeling what everyone else was feeling in that moment as well.
So if I'm with my family and talking to them about something, I know what they're thinking as I'm talking. So that, because nothing's hidden, nothing is unknown, everything is transparent. And I go from all my various lives, from being female, from being on other planets, on and on. And it seemed like I was there for months.
I just wanted to stop there real quick because we kind of breezed over it. He kind of breezed over it. Other lives, other planets. Yeah. Like we don't think about these things, you know.
Our PhD is here.
It is.
This is where you get the PhD in living. All the other guys out there in the spirit world are like, "Whoa, you lived there for 7 years, 8 years, 30?"
I think this is final boss, man. I think Earth is final boss.
Yes.
I mean, possibly. Hell, I don't know, but
I hear the other planets aren't nearly as. I mean, no offense to you guys out there, but if you want to land in my cul-de-sac around 12 p.m. in the afternoon and knock on my door, and tell me about your souls.
You other planets.
Back on.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say real quick though, as we start to even dive into other stories and we've talked about other stories in the past of aliens, right? Like Earth is the final destination. Like everyone is coming here. Other species. It sounds like even in the afterlife, that Earth is final boss. Like there's something special about Earth, and I don't say that to say like, oh, you know, other planets. So I think there's like this just perfect mixture of the way that the Earth became the Earth, and other species and other universes and other realms are aware of that.
But obviously, in Earth time, I was only I was only drowned for somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here saying this. So, and then as I'm looking at these things, finally, in another moment of no time, now I'm not in a sphere, I'm back in a tunnel. And now I'm really close to the light. I'm as close to the light as I am to the screen on my computer. And I'm standing there, and the light says, Andy, I love you. And I'm impressed because it knows my name. And then the light says, Andy, we love you. And when the light says, we love you, the whole background and the light kind of disappear. And now there are thousands and millions and trillions of other lights, just like me. And they say in one chorus, welcome home, Andy. And at that point in time, I was absorbed into the light.
I mean,
Wow.
I mean, that's.
And I mean, when he gets there, he goes into, I don't want to ruin it, but boy,
It's
very
just
peaceful.
so peaceful.
It's very peaceful, you know, and then in a moment, he's surrounded by all these other lights. Now, again, like, he's a light. He's aware that there are lights around him, but there's such an awareness of consciousness that it's not about your hands, your fingers, your toes.
No.
It's about you, and that you are the you that you are trying to find here, right? And I think that's the thing we have to take away from these kind of stories, is that you are more than this physical thing that is in front of you. And as we start to understand that more and more, and even outside of religion, we need to understand that we exist beyond, that we are more than this physical realm. What that exactly means, we don't know. And hopefully through some of these stories, we can start to understand that. But I think the important thing is that we take a moment and that we realize that this bullshit that we're struggling with every day, right? Bills, yes, important, right? I like internet. I like phones. So we pay bills. Our kid failing a grade or whatever, and all these little things that seem to drive us insane, that we really need to stop for a second and go, in the end, that's not important. In the end, that doesn't really matter. That's not big, right? And hopefully, again, some of these stories can lead us towards maybe finding a little more peace while we're here. I hope.
I became the light. I wasn't greater than the light. I wasn't less than the light. I was a piece, a holographic piece of the light. And it's the most fantastic feeling that as a human, I could ever imagine. It's indescribable. And at that moment, I knew everything. What do you mean, Andy? I mean, I knew everything. There was nothing I did not know. So people often ask me questions. Well, when you were in the light, did you ask them about the war and peace? And all? I said, no, I didn't ask them. There's no reason to ask questions because I knew it all.
No reason to ask questions because I knew it all.
One of my favorite parts. I mean,
oh my gosh,
truth. It's absolute truth.
Yes, there was no reason to ask questions because I knew it.
There's no argument. There's no argument. It is now just truth. Here's truth from the source.
It's a sense of contentment. I feel like.
Yeah.
He's feeling just an overwhelming sense of contentment. It's not even about knowledge. It's just about I know all that I need to know. I am. You're absolutely settled and content.
Well, yeah. Real quick on that, Josh. When people come back from these experiences, that's just it. They are content. They're happy. Usually, I mean, I'm sure there's some weird stories, but for the most part, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." I've kind of forgotten some of it, but I get it now.
Oh,
it just changes them.
How could you not?
I mean, right?
How can you not come back? My mother-in-law, um, Michelle's stepmom, had passed away, and very religious, and had an experience with Jesus. And when she came back, it was one of those things, and you can see it to today. This was many years ago. This was back in the 80s. And today you can see it today. And she lives her life with not being stressed over the minute things of this physical realm. It's amazing. And you look at her and you go, how do you do that? How do you have calm and peace over that? But she knows that there's more. And I don't know what that means for people who don't believe in anything. I'm not saying you have to be religious. I'm not saying you have to go to church. I'm saying it's difficult to deny that there is nothing, right? That there is something. It's difficult to deny that there's something. I mean, you feel it. Again, when we talk about the connection between two people, I don't physically touch you, but I can change you. I can change you with words. I can change you with emotions. I can change you. My oldest son, I could change him with a look. Right? So if there's that kind of thing that exists in the universe here that we experience, but we just take it for granted because it's day to day, there is so much more out there. It's hard to deny it, but there is way more out there. So anyone who struggles with that, I encourage you to keep listening, because these stories give me hope. Again, it's not a religious thing. This is a spiritual thing.
Well, I mean, you can even find a book from this video that you can read that's not religious at all. And it just kind of goes into more of a scientific view that this guy had about near-death experiences, and how you can listen to all 40 accounts that he listened to. He writes a book and he's like, dang, they are all the same. It's so crazy. And I think that's actually a testable thing. Like science, looks for the repeatable thing, right? Can we repeat that process, or can we repeat that again? And here he did 40 different stories culminating together in one narrative, and from 40 different people. How could 40 people lie,
Right. Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, let's get back into Andy's story here, and let's burn through a little bit. Let's let him kind of dive into this, because this is where it gets to some of the real meat of his story. And I don't want to interrupt, but if you guys, again, Tim, Josh, if you guys want to dive in, ask me to stop, I'll stop it. But this is some really interesting stuff.
Play it at 2 times the speed, 2 times, just for fun.
Make it real fast.
Sound like
there was nothing that was unknown. And now I'm with the light, and the light is really funny. The light has a fantastic sense of humor, laughter, fun. When we were looking at my life review in the big sphere, the light would say, Andy, look how upset you got over that. In the long run, it doesn't mean anything. Why don't you loosen up? Why don't you lighten up? Why don't you have more fun while you're on the planet? You're only going to be there for a little while, because it's not real. Earth life is not real. It's like a play. It's like a movie. There's 8 million actors on the planet, and they're all playing a role. They come with different costumes, different religions, different races, different sex, different, all of these things. But once the costumes are gone and taken off, when the play is over and you're back in the light, the costume comes off, and what do you know? We're all one. We are all the same. We're made out of the same stuff. There is no difference between me and you. There is no difference between you and anybody else. There is here. We're dressed in costumes to be different, to experience things that you can't experience in the light. You can't experience something that you already know. I can't experience talking for the first time because I've been talking all my life. But when I first started to talk, when I said my first couple words, that was really exciting to me. When I'm in the light and knowing things, it's different than experiencing them. So in order to experience, the light tells me that, and I know anyway because I know everything. I lower my vibrations because everyone has their own unique vibration. That's what makes you and me different.
Yeah.
Lowering my vibrations, we have to really look into what that is. I hear that all the time, and I'm like, what? And it's only for the, I guess, people who've either taken some extreme LSD, some psychedelic mushrooms, ayahuasca trips. They all talk about, heck, you remember there's a documentary on, I want to say, Netflix or something, Mother God. Look it up.
Oh my
Interesting
gosh.
documentary. But dang, if they aren't talking about vibrations in that one too, and here's this old guy up in Michigan talking about vibrations.
Hold on though. I do want to stop you for 1 second though. I think we're talking about two different vibration things.
No, I
right?
know, definitely.
Mother God
definitely,
is like,
but
listen,
Mother
we just
God,
want to really get high and drunk and not really like
right,
do stuff.
of course, this guy's
dude's
a
different.
sweet little old man. I'm talking about just the fact though that there's this weird vibration everybody keeps talking. But it's not even just that documentary. I keep, when I'm reading something or I'm watching something, it seems like a common consciousness that shows up in my algorithms, at least, is the idea that you can vibrate at higher levels, and lower levels. And I don't fully get all that, but I guess I will someday. I digress. Keep playing.
Well, yeah. I mean, just to touch on what you just said, though, I mean, when you talk about vibrations, I think you also have to link in frequency, right? Because what is a vibration? Vibration is a frequency. So if you look at the spectrum of light, spectrum of sound, that everything is a frequency. So when somebody says vibration, it is. I think the way that Andy says it is something that we fully can't comprehend here.
We can't tell you there.
No, but I believe that that's what it is. It's kind of like, what was the thing that I read the other day, that that when a plant is cut, when you cut the leaf or a stem or whatever off a plant, that plant actually screams. However, we can't hear it.
Too high of a vibration.
Too high of a vibration, too high of a frequency. It's totally different than what we can perceive.
It's like the Whovilles on Who.
It's 100%. So that's what I find fascinating as well, that Andy talks about these vibrations.
Yeah.
I believe it's a thing, man. I mean, think about it. We as humans, we have monitored frequencies from audio to light, and
there are plenty outside our spectrums.
Right. And there's plenty outside of our
signals.
spectrums that we've been able to monitor as well. So what exists even between that?
Right.
Because there's no way that we even know that as humans, dogs can hear things that we can't even pick up. Right.
No. Or see things.
But science has gotten to the point to where we can show that. Like we can say they can, we can't. So what is there that exists that we can't even measure? Right.
No, it's unfathomable.
Talking about dogs, I was coming down my stairs the other day. It happened twice in the same day. My dog has never done this before. My dog's name's BMO. He is a Boston Pitty mix. So size of a Boston, a little bit bigger, but kind of looks like a Pitty with a tail. So comes down the stairs. You kind of go down the stairs. You hit a landing. You take a right. You go down, and then you're out, right? So comes to the landing and just stops. Just stops. And it's not him. He's like, if you're going, I'm going. Let's go. Let's do this. Right. So he stops. And I'm like, hey, come on. Let's go. So the first time, eventually, it took some, hey, come on. And eventually, he followed me down. Second time, dude stopped, stared at me for a while, and then turned around and went back upstairs. That is not him. You'd have to know your dog. You guys know your dog. My dog does not do that. So it made me feel in that moment that he was picking up on something that I was not aware of, right? So you're right, Tim. Dogs have that sense, man. They can sense something, and we know this from paranormal side of things. They can sense spirits, energies, this other thing. So my wife tended to go, well, that was your mom. What? That's cool. I hope it was, but I thought it was interesting.
All right, play this Vidya.
Lower my vibrations so that I can incarnate and be born on a planet like Earth and now live a life doing things, experiencing things that I would like to experience. And when I experience them, you experience them, everybody experiences them. It's contributed to the whole. There is only one, and everything that exists, that ever exists, that will exist is in that oneness. And it's a wonderful, exciting, fantastic experience that I remember in using this costume called Andy Petro, of Ukrainian descent, living in the United States of America in 2022. And I'm reading my script and doing what I'm supposed to do while I'm still here, waiting until my character is done with this story and I can get out of here and get back where I belong. So that whole process of being in the light was just incredible. And it seemed like I had been there for years, maybe hundreds of years. But in the light, since there is no time, there is no hierarchy, there is no judgment, there is no separation. We're all one, not in a dull, boring way, but in a happy, exciting, ever evolving, ever new experiences in the light. And then all of a sudden, the light says to me, Andy, you have to go back. I said, whoa, no. You got the wrong guy. I'm not going back. And the light says the second time, Andy, you're going back. And I said, didn't you hear what I said? There's no reason for me to go back to that planet. I'm home. And the light says to me the third time, Andy, you're going back. And when I heard the word back, the K in back, I felt myself being stuffed back into my body. The most horrible feeling that I can ever imagine. Just as the most exhilarating experience I could ever imagine was when I left my body back and went back into the light. The most horrible one that I've experienced was going back into my body. I didn't want to be there.
Going back into the body. Now, this is a very common theme that we hear from a lot of NDEs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and along with that, loud noises, drill noises, beeps and noises, like a heavy rumble. It's a really interesting sound. But I think definitely that was a cool thing to cover, that it's a common thing when they come back. It's painful.
Yeah. I mean, they're
irritating.
So let's talk about that for a second. They leave their body.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. There's no pain. There's no angst. Yeah. There's no anything.
Peace.
There's joy. There's love. There's acceptance. And then when they say, you got to go, it's not your time. And when they go back, they immediately feel the physical
weight
of the physical
form, vibrational weight.
And it really does shock these people.
It really does.
Oh my gosh. So let's hear, Andy has now been thrust back into his body. And I don't think he's happy about it. Let's hear what he has to say.
No, he was in bliss.
I still don't want to be here, but I'm doing what I'm going to do. So as I'm hearing all this and I'm laying on the sand, I'm on my stomach and my head's turned and they're pushing on my lungs to get the water out of my lungs. This was back before CPR. This was back in the 50s. And I'm coughing the water out. By the way, I never lost consciousness. This is a complete stream from the moment that I left my body at the bottom of the lake until the moment that I got back into my body on the sand at the lake. There are no blank spots. It's a continuous flow of consciousness.
That blows my mind. That completely blows my mind.
I think that's one of my favorite things.
Oh my gosh, guys. Never lost consciousness.
Yeah.
Never went blank. Okay. Have you guys, I've had a series, I've talked about this before on the podcast, where I would pass out randomly. And when I would pass out, black, nothing. There's no stream of consciousness. There's no anything. and that's just still in the physical realm, right? For whatever reason.
Sure.
But for him to say that for this period of time, which what
died.
he said it felt like hundreds of years.
Yeah.
It's
like an ayahuasca trip.
Dude, he never lost consciousness. I mean, that is mind blowing. All right, let's continue. I mean, it's
go back. No, it's amazing. I love that part.
So my body was done. It was laying there getting ready to become fish food. And I wasn't there. I was in the light. And then when they found the body, and I don't know who found it, and I didn't care because I didn't care about my body. All I cared about was being in the light. And so when I got up, they said, "Oh, Andy, boy, tell us what happened. Tell us, what did it feel like to drown?" And I said, "I can't remember a thing." I said my first big lie. I said, "I remember nothing. It's all a blank." And that was not true. The vivid details that I'm talking about right now happened almost 70 years ago. And as I'm talking to them right now, I have the same feelings that I had in 1955 at the bottom of the lake. I've relived it thousands and thousands of times, and it never changes. And the joy and the ecstasy of being in the light is there are no words. Everyone will know because everyone will get that experience, because we all come here, we all go back, and we do it over and over again in various permutations, in various galaxies, in various worlds, whatever. It's a never-ending story.
We can wrap it up there. I mean,
there's some good stuff there. I mean, you got this video anyway to have if you need to end it somewhere else. But man, I mean, the guy's story is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys, there are a few minutes left in this story, and it's from Coming Home, Elliot and Jesse, and it's Coming Home channel on YouTube. Check it out. This is a story of man dies, discovers ultimate truth about our sole purpose on earth, consciousness, and oneness. This story, I remember right after my mother died, I needed to find something to give me solace, something to give me hope. I felt alone, right? And I remember, Tim, I almost immediately watched this video and shared it with you, like right away. And we talked about it.
Oh, man. I was happy.
This video meant the world to me. And I shared it with Tim because I knew recently, just before myself, Tim had lost his mother. I knew that he could understand.
And father. I mean, my stepfather, too. You know?
Yeah.
I was there for all that.
Yeah. And I knew that Tim could understand how I was feeling. And so sharing this with him, I thought, man, maybe both of us can use some of these words right now. And I hope that you guys can too. I really do. I hope that the words that Andy shared with us, I hope the way that Elliot and Jesse from Coming Home captured this, I hope it really can help you. Like it helped me. And we're going to continue this journey again. There's a bigger story that I can't wait to share with you guys.
I love it. I love it, Todd.
And we're going to get there by the end of the season. And I hope you guys stick with us, because all this is going to make sense when we get there. And, I'm so excited about Josh, Tim, two of my best friends in this world that have been patient for the last year as I've kind of gone through some things, and obviously they've been busy with other things, and I'm glad that we're back together doing this again, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and
so stay tuned.
I'm still loving what I just saw.
It's encouraging.
I just it does. It is very. So it is. Cool. It is very.
It's like, okay, some truth finally, just maybe.
Yeah, like it's not chaotic. Really like no,
it's a loving.
The point here is clarity and truth. It's not chaos, which is what we usually hear nowadays. Yeah. So the message alone is very different than what we've been receiving a lot lately. But I love the joy that comes out of it. It's not this like confused, traumatic, very strange. Mm-hmm. calming and
we do need
clarifying.
We do need to get a.
I love that. It's encouraging.
We do need to hear all these other different stories because there are some that are a little more chaotic. However, you know, they come back and they have a good story to tell. But like, I think the reason I like this guy so much is that he's just this genuine old grandpa who just seems to be like, why do I need to hide this? This is awesome.
Well, that hid it for 25 to 30 years.
This is the first of its kind, I feel like, where we're in an era now where all these 50s. People can share it. Oh yeah, in the 50s, you dare not say that I was
that's weird. That's
genders.
Strange to me.
I was multiple universes.
Oh yeah,
there's no way.
Andy didn't feel comfortable about telling his story until the 70s when Life After Life came out by Moody. Mooney. I think it was Mooney.
Moody.
And I think Tim actually got that book after we shared this video. And
your son has it. He never read it.
He sent it home with my son.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting.
I love you, Tom.
There are some things, guys, that I just want to let you know before we let you go. You know, again, I kind of gear us towards this future, right, of the end of the season where
podcast.
I'm going to talk about some things, but what I wanted to share with you prior to that was how the story that I'm going to share at the end of the season, there's a part of that story that is divine. And I'm not a big believer in divinity. I'm not a big believer in this had to happen so that this could happen. And it was divine to happen that way.
Who else is on there? Are the other guys laughing at us?
Please,
I think you lost us,
as
Todd.
we get through this season. All right. So yeah.
Oh man, Todd, that was awesome. Good thoughts there at the end.
Hey, David,
meanwhile, all these guys. So funny.
Near after death experience.
I like how David rolls in on a Sunday after like at 6:00.
Oh man.
It is so good to be back with you. I'm alive. I feel alive. Obviously, I'm seeing you, so you're alive.
That's right.
Can't wait for this season.
Can't wait either. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Don't hurt
Thanks
yourselves.
for hanging out.
Good night.
Created by human